I quit my job at Google at this point, like a long time ago, like 8 years ago, not super long time, but a pretty long time ago. And what I have been guilty of sometimes is like like kind of watching the story of my other life in my head, like, oh
Mm.
man, at this age I would have been a, fucking director of such and such a thing, and I would have had this salary and I would have had this thing. And it gets more faint, I think, year over year, but like, do you watch the story of your whatever that other life was that probably some people wanted for you in that other world and that you might have felt inert in at some point? Like, do you ever check in with that person over there?
Very rarely, to be honest with you. I have very few regrets about the decision that I made to make a pretty big pivot in my life. I would say that my old life and my new life are still connected because of the internet, right?
Mm.
Like because
Mhm.
of social media, I still have an audience and a platform. And so, of course, I'm going to use it to have conversations with people, right? But no, I really don't look back with regret very often. I think I made a good choice for myself ultimately. I'm so much more comfortable in my life now. Like walking the streets, being anonymous, except when I'm on TikTok and people are talking shit at me.
I love that. People always say to me, my mom, chief amongst them, she has this wonderful thing she says that is meant to be very nice, and I love you, mom. But it is. We used to, at the height of sort of Modern Family fame or whatever, we couldn't get through lunch without a lot of interruptions. And now we'll be somewhere, and she'll go, "Isn't it wonderful? We've been here for 3 hours, and no one has even looked at you." And you go, Yes, that is wonderful, but but there's also this sort of underlying thing that's like, therefore you don't exist, or therefore you're not at the height of your game anymore. And I always say, "Oh, I'm fine with that." I always see myself as anonymous, and then when somebody recognizes me or something, that's more of the exception to the rule. I love hearing you say, I like being anonymous, because I feel like nobody believes that. Do you get challenged on that?
No, not really.
Good.
But, I think New York is culturally different from LA in that
Yep.
way,
Yeah, it really is.
So,
People are too cool.
and
Hmm. People
just
are
too
too
cool.
cold.
No, they're cool.
People are
They're
They're
too
cool.
too
They don't want to
fun
busy.
admit it.
too.
People
They're in
aren't
a
going to nerd
rush.
out. They're not, yeah, they got their own shit going on.
Yeah.
You see so much crazy shit in New York City every day
Yeah.
that it does not matter if Lady Gaga walks past you. And she has. I was like, there's Lady Gaga on my day. Like, people here just have something to do, have a place to be, and we are constantly dealing with stimuli all over the place, right? And so for somebody like me, I'm like, yeah, I just cruise through my day and like nobody cares about me. And that is delightful. It means that I have like recaptured myself, which is
Mm.
just my own person. I remember two experiences when I was like 17 when Laguna first aired. The first was at a pizza place in Laguna, and it was like right after the show had premiered. And like, it was a place that I used to frequent twice a week in high
Right.
school, right? Like with my pals. And all of a sudden, people there were like staring at me. And then another time was at Forever 21 at the
Yes,
mall.
the
And
mall.
the mall, and people started following me around, and I was like, "Oh my god, I hate this.
You hated
This is
it.
so uncomfortable, so uncomfortable."
Did you feel
And
unsafe in that moment?
I just felt judged, but I don't know
Yeah.
why. It's not like they were like saying things at me that were impolite. I just was like, "Why are you looking at me?"
Yeah, that's it. I totally get that. And I've talked to Chad about this, because he's like, you got to love being, and Chad, you might have evolved on this since you first said it like a year ago or something, that
Yeah.
it's got to be great to have all those eyes on you. And I
I,
was
I,
like,
I
no, I feel a sense of shame. It always feels like someone's catching me like on the toilet when they are staring at me when I'm eating or something. It feels like something's inherently wrong, and I can't put my finger on it, but it's not okay.
and what I think I said,
Right.
but we have it on record. But what I think I said was, I
Uh-huh.
don't even think I was weighing whether it was good or bad. I was saying I wanted it, and
Oh yeah, you
and
did. That's true.
and I want it a lot less,
You
even
do?
just after a year. Yeah, I mean, probably from a year of talking to people who keep telling me that it sucks, like from doing this show.
Right.
Well, think about why you would stare at somebody, right? It's because like there's something on their face, or I don't know, something is atypical with what you normally see. And that's why you stare at somebody generally, or you think they're like
Yeah.
really handsome or whatever. But it's not because it's like not normally for good reasons that you're staring at somebody. And so if you think about that on the receiving end, you're like, why are you looking at me?
Right.
What's wrong with me?
It feels like an objectification. We used to call it celebrity petting zoo because you become a llama or like a cute like pig that they want to, take a picture of or with.
Take a picture of you.
Yeah, and you're like, wait, hi. I'm like, I'll talk to you, but don't walk up and just like put a camera in my face. It doesn't feel like I'm a human anymore. And it sounds like in the current iteration of low, the one that you feel very comfortable in, you are not an object. You are a directive. You are the prime mover of your reality right now. Is that fair?
Yeah, absolutely.